My name's Pete Gompert. I'm the head mechanical designer for the Jet Force system. You want me to just talk about how it all started?
Yeah, that'd be great.
A few years ago, I was kind of in between design projects, and my boss came to me and asked if I could kind of research how to improve on the kind of current state-of-the-art in airbag technology. We looked at licensing a bunch of canister-based systems, and honestly, we're kind of underwhelmed. There's just so many drawbacks with travel and refill, and just kind of general drawbacks to those systems. So I started just kind of off-the-wall brainstorming to figure out what would be better. Tried everything from chemical reactions to giant mechanical springs to all sorts of stuff. One day I went over to the IT department, got a little computer fan and a garbage bag, and just fired that up. And it was slow, but it filled a garbage bag in 10 or 15 seconds. So I got online and I basically found the biggest battery-operated fan I could, which was it was actually from a ducted fan in a remote-controlled jet. So I bought that, we tried that, and we're like, oh my gosh, this really works. We could blow up an airbag in 3 seconds. And so it kind of went from there. We actually had some friends build some prototypes, electronics, boards and stuff to make it work, and then just kind of started building protos from there, and one thing led to another. Here we are. We're actually still using basically that same technology, the ducted fan motor that runs at 70,000 RPM and moves a lot of air real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. So the pack is now for sale.
Yep.
You've got a few configurations.
Yep, we're doing 3 Black Diamond packs and I think 3 Peeps packs and 1 POC, which is a lot for the first season, but it's been good. We're pretty convinced this technology is the future. There are definitely some hard obstacles to overcome in the development, mostly electronics and battery related.
Yeah.
We're actually certified to run this thing at -30 C, which is a really hard place to run a battery, but we were able to find some special chemistry, lithium polymer batteries, and do a lot of battery management in the software to make that work.
So Avalanche airbag backpacks, they've been in Europe for a long time with ABS. They've been out there, and it wasn't until the US standards changed that allowed them here that they could explode, is my understanding of it, in terms of demand.
Nick could probably be better to answer some of that.
Yeah.
You want to take a hot seat, Nick?
I can, yeah, or do that. I think the adoption in North America was one part fueled by the availability of the canisters, and then just more education, more understanding about how the systems work and their availability. Yeah. And since then, the accessibility of canister-based systems has
really gone out. So when you completely change the way these bags work, the standards, government regulations, that sort of thing, how do you walk around those? How do you get around those?
Well, so with the canister-based system, there are some very specific standards that relate just to the canisters themselves, a pressurized vessel. Yeah. And there are North American standards for those. Yeah. Because we don't have a gas canister, we don't have to worry about that.
Excellent.
The standard that's being developed right now is a SEN standard, so that's European-based. Yeah. And this is the same certification body that we certify all our climbing equipment through as well. So the specific need to have that certification in North America, there is not as much of a need as there is in Europe. In Europe, it's pretty much mandated in order to sell product. Yeah. This is what we've been doing with our climbing hardware for a long time, and so this is the same approach that we've taken with
excellent.
the pack.
So it's really your own in-house standards in terms of when you feel this is reliable enough, consistent enough to start selling in North America. And then as the standard fills out in Europe, it's, there's then, I guess you guys will probably help influence that and help them understand what sort of equipment this is and what might be right and what might go wrong.
And we've been a part of that process for the last couple of years now. Yeah. So that standard has been in development. Yeah. It's a standard that applies to all Avalanche airbag packs. And actually, packs is even a little bit limiting. There are some people that have more of sort of a harness system or things like that. So any Avalanche airbag falls into that standard.
Yeah.
And so we have been part of the creation and the development of that standard. And a big part of that is with the new technology, making sure that standard applies to a electrical fan-based system as well as a compressed gas system. And the systems do work in fundamentally different ways, and so that standard has been developed and created to accommodate both types of systems.
Excellent.
It's a European-based system, European-based standard, and so as it stands today, the standard is not 100% finalized yet, but we complied to the standard in its current state. And it's fairly far along its path of development. It's not too far off from being finalized. But of course, we always have our own internal specifications, and so the just like climbing hardware, the standard is a place to start. You have to make sure that you at least meet those requirements. But then, of course, we have our own in-house requirements that we have to pass as well.
Yeah, killer, awesome. And so then the pack. I mean, it's starting with dive in like.
So, I guess when we all kind of looked at like what this should be or what it could be, we have this amazing new technology that we're bringing to the market, but we wanted to make sure that just the technology, it wasn't just an airbag pack first and then a crappy pack second, right? And we wanted to make sure that it was, with all of our BD packs, we built for function first. And so this is a great pack, and it just happens to have some amazing technology inside. And so we kind of started with the idea that we could probably, with the system and how we could arrange it, we could probably get a back panel access with it. And so all of the JetForce packs are accessible from the back side here. And so you have a huge opening back here. And then you also have, like all other Black Diamond packs, you have basically an Avalanche pocket here where a shovel, probe, saw, anything kind of jumps in here. And so easily accessible, noticeable by the white tab. And nothing can kind of get in the way of this. So any situation of consequence, you can really jump into this really quickly. And so also getting into the back, you can throw it on its front, kind of just load it and unload it. And what's really cool about this is you don't have to take everything out of the pack to charge it. You could leave everything in your pack for the next morning. You could leave everything in the pack while you charge it. And there's basically just a small little cable here. And you could charge it in the wall with keeping everything inside of it. And we kind of we tried to make the air intake for this as redundant as possible. And so there's a lot of different air intakes on the JetForce packs. This one here, this is a mono mesh, a plastic mono mesh with what are we calling the foam that was in there?
Reticulated foam.
Oh yeah, reticulated foam, which is kind of the same foam that's in like a snowmobile.
Right.
And so all the air intake, it could suck air throughout this whole back panel, and it also sucks air in through this panel as well. And then also it could suck air from just the pack in general of the inside.
And is that sort of tech, is that taken from your Avalanche work on the pack, or is that pretty much original for this?
It's pretty much original, I guess, the redundancy, but what we found out with the Avalanche is that there is air in snow. And so that's kind of something that we were pretty confident when we went to build this thing, is that we knew that there was air in the backcountry. And so it was kind of, when you think back about it, about other canister airbags, why are you bringing air into the backcountry in a canister, right? If you have air there, there is air in the snow. As long as, we made sure that it was very redundant. So if this is blocked and this is blocked, it's still sucking air through the pack through the mesh on the inside, or if everything else is blocked, this is open. So we've never been able to.
We've actually
block
done
it.
tests. Sorry, I'm talking from off camera here.
Yeah.
We've actually done tests with the pack completely buried. There's enough air in the snow that the airbag will still inflate.
Wow. Completely buried. And that does carry over a little bit from what we've learned with the Avalanche. Even in very high density snow with a really high water content, there's still actually a lot of air.
Because in so many slides you have the friction that melts the snow and starts to condense it right down. And so even when you've got the massive death cookies, all that, there's still gaps between those. There's still air within it.
For sure, and within the snow itself. And so we have done a lot of testing where we pack meters of snow around the pack itself, and do deployments, and it still is able to pull air from the snowpack.
And like I was just wanting to speak to the fact that we tried to make sure that this was a great pack first, and it just happened to have this amazing technology on the inside. So, for instance, the ski carry here is attached, and we tried to make sure we did this in a way that when you're diagonal carrying skis, they weren't flopping like crazy, right? And so this is actually connected under the airbag balloon compartment and back into the metal frame that's back here.
Right.
And so when you really compress down and compress
it brings that load back onto the frame.
Yeah, it brings the load back onto the frame. This webbing kind of connects here and connects down here. So it holds them pretty tight there.
How future compatible are you going the loops? Like skis are just getting wider and wider. How do you guys plan for that? That when B-Day release their I don't know, next massive carbon convert or whatever, that it'll still fit.
You just try to make sure, skis and trims and stuff. But what's great is our engineer is designing all the skis as well, so we can.
You know what's coming as well.
And then also, we didn't want this catching on trees and stuff when you're skiing lines through trees or anything, and so everything's kind of tuckable. For an ice axe or a PLA you want to throw on here, these kind of come out of the bottom and they tuck away, and then as well as the bottom part of the ski carry. And then also the helmet attachment. We had to do something a little bit different with our helmet attachment on this pack. Usually they come out of a portion about here, and you carry the helmet here or on top of the pack. We wanted to make sure that on this, that if the helmet came out here, there's a possibility of somebody connecting it here, right? And we wanted to make sure that there was no way that the airbag would be able to come out.
I mean, that's actually a requirement of the certification. You have to be very careful that the pack is designed in such a way that it doesn't prevent the balloon, the airbag from coming out. So everything about that, the ski carry, the helmet carry, the PLA carry, all of that's designed in such a way where you pretty much can't obstruct anything around the perimeter of the pack, because that's where the balloon has to come out, and you have to be able to deploy the pack regardless of whether you're carrying skis, a helmet, or a clothes.
Excellent.
So you could carry everything on the front of here and still deploy it. Skis, helmet, everything at once, and it would still deploy it.
Another thing that's pretty cool about the way Derek designed this is that you can still access all your Avalanche tools with the airbag deployed, which is pretty important. You get caught in a slump or something, you need to get to that stuff fast.
And how do you decide on a pack like this between, like, some guys love carrying their skis A-frame, others are like snowboards, kind of loads of, like how do you decide when you're doing something like this as to what you'll allow for?
That really is a decision based on like the category manager kind of, just making sure that we're covering exactly kind of who we want to be carrying this.
Well, we had to kind of drive that with function. I mean, we'd love to have been able to make an A-frame and diagonal and everything, but we've got a lot of experience with diagonal ski carry. We've been making them for a while, and we're pretty good at it. And it was just the easiest way to get skis on there tight and reliably and still be able to deploy. With an A-frame, it's near impossible to get the airbag out, and so it was kind of off the table pretty quick.
That makes sense. And then snowboarding, how do you decide there? I mean, so many guys are split board now anyway, but...
I guess at our heart, we're a ski company. And so this pack specifically is a ski pack. We have other packs in the line and also in the future that will carry like like a split board, of course. This will carry a split board right now. Basically, this will carry a snowboard. But this is the Pilot 40.
Yeah.
Sorry, Saga 40. And
killer. Yeah.
And in the future, we're making sure to pay attention to that. So,
Yeah, cool.
But at the heart of it,
Yeah.
starting with the pack that'll carry skis great,
Yeah.
rather than carry both kind of crappy.
Crappy. That makes a lot of sense.
And that kind of speaks to the design philosophy on these things too. It's really easy to make something like this into a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Where you have a bazillion features hanging off of it everywhere. Yeah, an Avalanche, for instance. We were very careful to kind of pick the ones we thought we needed in a good ski pack. And leave as much off as we could, because simplicity speaks as much to function as
absolutely. And especially in new tech where you're not quite sure how this will interact with this and this and this. It makes sense that so much of the design is about stopping people doing certain things that they don't realise will interfere with the balloons.
Yeah, that's stuff you don't even realise until you've made it that way. And you're like, oh, we got to change that because that blocks the ice axe holder when the balloon is deployed or whatever, you know.
We also have the benefit with distributing across 3 brands to create some slightly different features between the brands.
Yeah.
So the Peeps packs, for example, come in a different volume.
Yeah.
So the BDs are offered in an 11 liter, 28 liter, 40 liter.
Yeah.
Whereas the Peeps are a 24 and a 34.
Right.
So they sort of split the difference.
Yeah.
And all the Peeps packs are able to carry snowboards.
Yeah, right.
So some just subtle differences in
and then the
features.
POC will be smaller capacity, kind of resort based, like countryside country stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And there's opportunities to expand on how those brands can offer different features on future packs.
Yeah,
excellent. The other thing that we get a lot of questions about is when we specify that pack volume.
Yeah.
We're talking about the usable space.
Yep.
So that doesn't take into account the actual airbag balloon.
Yeah, right.
And there's a lot of other companies will say that they have a 35 liter pack.
Yeah.
And that's the overall volume of the pack.
Yep.
And then you take up some of that volume with the balloon.
And I've seen how a lot of those companies measure their volume, and it's a guess. It's often done off CADs. And
Like we really tried to okay, how much can we get for a full day tour?
Yeah.
And it kind of based more on the functionality.
Yeah.
Instead of little plastic balls,
Yeah.
Although we did, of course, volume ball these things to make sure they were correct. But it was I know we did a lot of volume adjustments based on guys out testing stuff like this, just to make sure that, okay, you know what, it's not fitting everything. My water bottle's really not fitting in there.
Yeah.
I can't throw an extra jacket in there. So to make sure that.
Yeah, that makes good
sense.
sense.
About the volume of these packs too, that Derek's done a really good job with. He put all of the functional components of the airbags itself, the battery and the control box and stuff, is buried way down by your waist belt.
Yeah.
And so it carries really nice. There's not this big funkin' weight above. You don't really even notice it.
It's kind of on your lumbar, and so it's kind of a natural place to have kind of a center of gravity, for your pack and for yourself in general. And so the battery's down in this compartment. I'm not sure if you can see this with the camera, but the battery's down in this compartment, and this is where the DC jack hides. So it could come out super easy. And then here, of course, is the airbag that goes around the outside.
Yeah, right.
And also what we did, there's a lot of certification tests that make sure that the airbag stays on the pack in an avalanche, right? And so there's a lot of stress tests and pull tests.
Right.
And the frame of this thing is basically intertwined between loops from the airbag and loops that are sewn into the mating seam.
Yeah, right.
And then the frame that helps carry the load is doing two things rather than just helps carrying the load, right, and keeping the bag structured.
Yeah.
It actually acts as the structure, but then it acts as the linchpin between the airbag and the backpack.
Right.
And so that's kind of the last process down. That's kind of the last process is they throw the frame in and intertwine it through the airbag and also the backpack. So.
And are the airbags themselves, how different is it, the tech from auto airbags? Do you need more abrasion resistance because you're trying to stop snagging?
It's quite different. It's
kind of cool,
airbag.
Yeah.
We actually developed that material in-house.
Yeah.
It's a special twisted yarn in there that allows for a lot more stretch and tear resistance. Yeah. I think we're the best tear resistance on the market right now.
Yeah, right.
The other thing we were able to do with the airbag is make it bigger.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's one benefit.
200-liter bag just because we have a supply of air. So
right.
Make it as big as we want.
Yeah, and so there's a silicone coating on the exterior.
Yeah.
And there's mechanical stretch in all the yarn, and so basically the yarn's overstretched.
Yeah.
And so it could I guess have mechanical stretch when, like, say a branch pushes against it. So it gets a little bit better abrasion resistance because of that. And then also the silicone coating on the exterior.
Yeah.
So things kind of slide off a bit. And this actually helps it come out of the bag quicker as well.
Yeah.
Come out of the backpack quicker.
Yeah.
Yep.
It needs to remain flexible.
Yeah.
It needs to be mostly airtight.
Yeah.
And it needs to work at very cold temperatures.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, I think those things run contrary to each other.
Yeah, right. And what do you test down to? Is it like minus 40 sort of temperatures, or
minus 30 C is what the standard requires.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cold.
Yeah.
That's honestly the hardest part of the whole design, is getting all these things. All fabrics become really stiff in the cold.
Yep.
It's been a trick. And then, like I said, batteries really don't like cold. So we had to do a lot of work to get the pattern management software and the chemistry right.
And do you have to sort of say, all right, look, down to minus 30, that's all we can say we're sorted for, and then you guys might play with it in Wyoming when, Jackson Hole gets to those crazy temps, or...
Yeah, and we have quite a bit of ability in-house. We have a walk-in freezer and a small environmental chamber. So, so we can simulate some very, very
extreme
cold, extreme cold. Yeah. But most of the testing that we do has been focused around that minus 30
makes sense.
requirement.
Yeah.
That's minus 30 C. And then one of the worst tests, you have to soak the bag in water and then freeze it at minus 30.
Oh my gosh, that'd be hard. Yeah, right.
That one's been probably the toughest to pass, but we're doing pretty good right now. Kobe's done a ton of work with that.
Yeah.
Kobe's probably been in the freezer more than anyone.
Before production started, I had deployed the system more than anybody.
Yeah, right.
The production guys got me beat it.
Do you still get butterflies every time you deploy it?
I wouldn't say that, but...
Is the overall fill rate a little bit slower than in an air canister, but then it goes, or are you getting almost the same speeds?
It's basically the same. It has a lot to do, both with the canister system and with the battery system. It has a lot to do with the ambient temperature.
Right.
For completely different reasons.
Yes. Not just air density. It's right.
But for us, even at cold temperatures, we are. There's a requirement in the standard. Yeah. And we're obviously well within that requirement. But we are basically equal. The cool thing there is that's just measuring the initial inflation. Yep. And for a compressed gas system, that's where it ends.
Yeah, right.
They get that initial inflation, and then it seals off, and they're done. Yeah. Whereas ours continues to inflate for another 3 minutes.
Yeah. Have there been unexpected benefits that you guys didn't think would be there with the fan system, but you've ended up saying, wow, that's actually really important?
I'd say the biggest one is probably the deflation. After 3 minutes, this thing actually sucks all the air out. We actually buried Kopi and tried this, and it makes it...
You really are the guinea pig, aren't you?
We have a test setup where basically we have this 6-foot piece of plexiglass. Yeah. And... I put the airbag on with an Avalanche, so I can breathe on the snow.
It looks like an ant farm.
Behind the plexiglass, I deploy the system, and then they bury me under about 2 meters of snow. And then I just kind of sit there and chill into the snow for the 3-minute deployment cycle. And then, sure enough, at the end of the 3 minutes, the balloon deflates, and then I've got a 200-liter air pocket behind my head.
Wow.
Not only could he breathe, he could move his arms enough to start digging.
Yeah, wow.
Which was cool. But that kind of came about. We were playing with the fan one day, and we're like, there's no reason we couldn't run this backwards.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened halfway through, and it turned out to be a really good thing.
The fact that it's a fully programmable system, so in the future we can make it do pretty much anything we want.
Yeah.
Obviously with it.
Yeah. Quick way to build your snow cave each night as you camping.
And then, of course, the other really big benefit is the ability to deal with punctures or tears.
Yep.
And so
that it continues to force air in.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but if you 3 minutes is far longer than a typical avalanche lasts.
Yeah.
But you can also envision scenarios where, when you're initially trapped in the avalanche, either having the pack being impinged in some way.
Yeah.
And for a compressed gas system, if there's any of that impingement at the onset, then you may not get complete fill. You may not really get what you want out of that initial inflation. With ours, even if something is interfering with the system at the initial inflation, because you continue to get inflation throughout this cycle, it has the ability it just keeps working for you the entire time. And you can start to envision a number of scenarios where that would be particularly useful.
Right. And is there an abort switch? You start inflation, you can kill it quick. You go, because so many of these things, like when you hear about where issues have happened with existing airbag tech, it's like people are like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be a big slide. I didn't want to deploy and waste my canister.
So our system, in that regard, has a bunch of benefits. One, it's an electrical-based system. So when you arm it, it gives you visible and audible indication that you've armed the system.
Yep.
And it also gives you, it's got
test the fan too.
Yeah, so that was it running through all the tests and making sure that the fan is clear to spin.
So it runs the fan in reverse, which gives you an audible signal that the system is armed now.
Awesome.
Visibly, you get a pulsing green light. And so you now have visible feedback that the system is armed and that everything is functioning correctly. With some of the compressed gas systems, because it's such a mechanical system, you don't get quite as much feedback that everything is working correctly.
Really, the only way to know is to pull the cord, which is not
totally. But it's so interesting, even just in general backcountry etiquette vibe. There's always the tradition of test the beeper before you go, check each other.
This is one of the biggest things we saw. That's the benefit that you could actually see it.
Just practicing with it is huge, because that's the biggest thing going into the backcountry is having confidence in your systems and practicing.
And your partners practice as well.
You're skiing along and you set off when you feel the snow, or whatever, pull the trigger. It takes all of a minute and a half to repack the system after you're done. It's boot, pull it. You'll still have a few deployments left. It's not that big of a deal. Whereas canister system, you're second guessing yourself on
all the time.
Waste my one shot now.
Say you're on like a 3-day head-to-head. Waste on the first day. And not so confident for the rest of the trip.
The way that the system functions, when you first pull that trigger, there's about 10 seconds where there's nothing that you can do. It's sort of a safety critical portion of that cycle where it will run that fan and it will inflate the bag. But after those first 10 seconds, you have the option of stopping the cycle. And so if it is a false alarm, you don't have to worry about using 3 minutes worth of battery power. You can't stop it. But we wanted to make sure that when you pull that trigger, the system is programmed that in those first 10 seconds, it does everything that it can to spin that fan and inflate the bag.
And we run it for 10 seconds, which is actually 3 times as long as it needs to blow up the battery, which is another advantage over a canister. It just in that first safety window, we already have 3 times redundancy to fill the bag.
And like in the actual inflation, what sort of issues are you looking after there? Like, in cars, they have to say, oh, if you've got kids under 6 or 8, don't put them in the front seat. Like, is there a lot of thought about the way it inflates, making sure it doesn't jam against your neck or doing things that might catch you out?
I think it's the opposite of just making sure there is nothing in the way that could ever not let it
inflate.
And
so it's more like packing your parachute.
Exactly. Parachute.
There's also a fundamental difference between avalanche airbags and car airbags. Car airbags, the primary purpose is to protect against impact. Right?
And they have to inflate in the opposite direction to the way they have to cushion, and so the inflation has to be even faster because you're working against.
It's like 10 milliseconds.
It's very, very fast.
We have an eternity compared to that.
So, so while an avalanche airbag may offer some protection from impact, that's not the primary reason. The primary reason is just increasing your overall volume, so that you float to the surface. So while there's some similarities in the way that they function, the reasons are pretty different. So when we are, when we're designing this thing, looking and worrying about how the airbag comes out, it's mostly how do we get it out in an unobstructed way so that your volume is increasing.
It was really like, if it was to fail, let's make it fail open. The failure being something that has locked the airbag.
There was a lot of thought into the shape of the airbag and stuff too. Like you said, we didn't want it to push your head forward. We made a really conscious decision to keep it all back here so you could still ski. See, stuff like that was really important. And then we made ours bigger because inverse segregation just says the bigger object rises to the top. So. And then also we like having the bag generally at your shoulders or above your head, just because that means you're probably going to end up right side up when the snow stops moving. Whereas if it's down here, who knows where you're going to be.
And that's actually been adopted into the standard. There are some requirements as to how and where that balloon is positioned relative to your body. It's obviously not a good thing if at the end of this your body comes to a rest upside down, which is why you're not going to see an airbag where it comes out at your ankles, right? So every company approaches that a little differently, but the intention is always the same. You want the body to float to the surface, and as best you can, you want the head to be protected and as high as possible, hopefully above the snow.
Wow.
And you want to set this thing off?
I mean, if you guys are up for it, that'd be a lot of fun, but I don't have any requirement.
You do it 30 times a day.
You want to, I don't know, you want to put that on and
we'll walk through this maybe.
Sure, and then it might be worth talking about the crotch strap and the waist belt.
Okay,
Because that's the other
Because there's a lot of unique hardware on this, isn't there?
There is, and there's a very specific requirement for certification where it has to withstand a certain amount of force, and it's balloon being removed from the bag and bag being removed from the body. So in terms of the way that this thing is constructed, it's constructed more like a climbing harness or something like that than it is a normal pack. All the main points are pretty significantly reinforced. So that it can withstand that required load.
It's so interesting. It's such a massive project, but BD is in such a unique space with peeps, with BD climbing, with backpacks, harnesses. It's like you can see why no one else has managed to get this out in the same time.
This is a perfect example of that. Is like when we designed this buckle, I had drawings out one morning and we had 3 prototypes made downstairs from Pete. And it's, we were able to like fail quickly to make sure we could find out exactly kind of where we wanted to be. And so
with that.
So this is totally like super robust, and it's adjustable. And this is the waist belt buckle, and then this is the crotch strap. We made it red just so if any guides have a pack of guys with these packs on, they could just kind of visually look down the row.
Make sure everyone's strapped up.
Everybody has a crotch strap on.
And that is a very important part of the system. I know a lot of guys don't wear those. But there's a real chance that your pack's going to get torn straight off, where you're going to be buried underneath your airbag. And so wearing that crotch strap is super important.
They've found people with their whole ski pants pulled off and everything out of slides, haven't they? It's like.
And I think there's actually been a couple reported cases where people have been strangled with the sternum strap because they weren't wearing a crotch strap.
Wow.
So
like us 4 in this room, we're probably
we
always have. Wow.
And so we could talk through the handle. We wanted to make sure, and this is something that you guys touched on already, but every other system doesn't really have the ability to see if you're good to go, to kind of check your status. And so it was really important for us to make sure that from a user interface point of view, we want to make sure that you can see your status all the time, just by looking down and making sure that you're good to go.
Yeah.
There's a green pulsing light here that you always see as long as you have, as long as you have enough for an inflation.
Yeah.
And then there's also a red light that'll come on if you're not good to go ski.
Yeah.
So that'll come on there. And then this,
and that's just low battery, or
no?
Why would that come on?
Well, the red light comes on for low battery, and also if something's wrong in the system diagnostic. So before you get on that helicopter, you run your thing, and if it's red, we hope it's not, but at least that's another safety feature.
So you know.
Yeah.
And then you tap the bottom here, and you can see how much battery life you have.
Yeah. Right. Excellent. Excellent. And spare batteries, you can buy a spare and kind of take that out with you?
Right now we don't have spare batteries available for sale. That is the plan. The battery is user replaceable, but it is not really designed to be removed from the system on a regular basis. We've tried to make this, rather than like the cordless drill approach, where you take the battery off and put it into a docking or a charging station. We've really designed this thing so that there's a power supply charger that you plug into the wall, and there's a cord, and you plug it into that DC jack, and you're able to charge the system without ever having to remove the battery. So for now, yes, a battery will be available. There isn't one available currently, but it's easy to charge, and it is pretty user friendly in terms of having to charge it on a regular basis.
The goal is to make it just like your cell phone. You don't take your battery out, you just plug the whole thing in at night, it's ready to go in the morning.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Well. Are you ready, Andrew?
It's a little loud.
Yeah.
Try it.
It's loud. I don't find it as like scary though as that initial puff. Canister.
Or as scary as dying in an avalanche.
Right. And so you just swipe down and.
So it's going to run maintenance, it'll pulse here.
So a small ongoing fan, then pulses.
It does actually stops entirely. Pulses about every 45 seconds.
Wow. Yeah, it's a big space, isn't it? It's a big balloon. Yeah, wow. And how long's charging time on the battery if it's been fully depleted?
If it's been fully depleted, you're probably looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 or 6 hours, or overnight.
Yeah. Could you spin around, Derek?
And so this was the active kind of portion of the avalanche?
Yeah.
The longest avalanche we could find was less than a minute. So we figured we run that for a minute. If you're still in an avalanche at this point, we probably can't save you. But the standard requires us to stay inflated for 3 minutes.
Wow.
So it's keeping it topped off.
And at any point you can stop that.
You can, You're conscious. You're able to stop if you can.
It's funny, the psychology of being more willing to deploy feels like just such a massive part of this.
And practicing also. Learning how to quickly deploy it. Learning how to repack the system. I don't think
it's good for a feel for how hard you have to pull.
I would bet the percentage of people who have actually deployed their airbag pack is pretty low. Just because it's such a hassle. And no one feels it. So people don't even. That's the last one. That's the last one. The worst part of the whole thing is doing demos and trying to talk over it.
And so in the deployment of that, it's broken through a zip.
It has.
That you guys have custom designed for that.
Not a traditional zip as we...
So the way this works, Derek's got something is basically you zip, there's these bars here that go there. You zip this past the end of the slider there. There's a little reset cord. You pull these down and then you just clip these guys on here.
Yeah. Tuck it away.
And what that does, it gives the airbag a...
Oh, awesome. And now it's coming back. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So now it'll go right back into armed mode. So you can pull it again right now.
So it's going back and you can just start again.
Go again.
Which is good if you were digging and there was hang fire or something. And slide came down. But anyway, you pull this. When you pull the cord, if this were armed, it would trigger the fan, and it also pulls those pins, which allows this to just flip open.
Right.
And then the airbag can just kind of fall out, and then the zipper breaks.
We want to make sure the solution wasn't something that would degrade over time like Velcro.
Yeah.
Especially in snow, right? And so this is
Velcro in snow's a nightmare.
This is a very mechanical way to make sure that the failure of this is
wow.
So it's pretty easy, but it is important to note that to reset the system, you have to move those bars back, and you have to make sure that zipper goes off the end.
Yep.
The zipper pull goes off the end of that zipper.
Yep.
And if you do forget to do that, we have enough power to break that zipper.
Right.
So your bag will still deploy, but it's not good for it. So it's very important to slide that past.
Back. Right.
But it's quick and it's easy to do, and so you can repack the system and be ready to go again in a couple minutes.
Yeah, another thing we didn't like was a lot of systems you have to fold the bag in a certain way. It's like folding your parachute.
Yeah, totally.
That didn't really appeal to us, so we designed this thing so you just stuff it in there.
Yeah, great.
There's no thinking to it.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
After you practice with it a bit, you can get it down to like a minute.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Less.
Especially the BD chief guinea pig who's had to.
But Andrew, on the zipper specifically, here, leave that up.
Yeah.
Everybody uses a plastic tooth zipper, basically a Vislon zipper with a burst zone. Yeah. And you'll always see almost not every airbag pack, but if you leave the zipper foot on the end, the power of the canister balloon will just break off that plastic, and then you get a lot of returns on those. Right. And we wanted to make sure that this coil zipper, what's great about this is it could run if it's peeled.
Yeah, right.
And so it peels super easy. And so this tension here keeps it from peeling.
Yeah, right.
And then right here, when this is open and these pins moved out of the way, there's virtually nothing that could keep this from peeling. Yeah. And this is coated with a waterproof
PWR type coating on it.
And so even when it's frozen at -30, the the zipper teeth don't get stuck together. And it can just run open.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, as to us at least, it feels like this is an absolute game changer. A big part of why we're here is that it just feels like it's what the industry needs. What are you guys envisaging with other brands as they try and replicate this? Are you scared that, they may botch the job? It's pretty hard, and they may tarnish the idea of fan-forced airbags, or are you guys being fairly open with this info, or what's...
So we have applied for a couple patents, and so there are aspects of this system that are protected. But I think we certainly believe that this is the next generation of airbag technology, and there's no doubt that others will be following suit. I think the way that the standard is written right now provides there are some good solid requirements in that standard that will sort of force people, if they want their product to be CE certified, to build a robust system.
And so for you guys, that's you would endorse and suggest that is the standard, that if anyone's going to be buying a pack like I'm guessing it'll take brands a year or two or three to sort of replicate, but if they're going to be buying a pack like this, it's that's going to be the best standard.
And all the major industry players have been a part of creating that standard.
Excellent.
So everyone knows about it. Everyone's been a part of it. That is sort of the comprehensive industry standard for avalanche airbags. But
it's a tough one to pass. I mean, that's like you were saying. It's a pretty high barrier to entry to this thing, just because there's so many little engineering challenges that come with passing this.
And from an ID standpoint, I think competition is always good and it moves the needle forward.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of these products that like is super hard to replicate.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's going to take brands quite a little while to do so, and to make sure that they can improve on it.
Yeah.
It's also going to be even another step above that.
And can you guys imagine licensing this out to other brands to be able to put ski bag modules onto this in the same way as
how that actually
is
executed on needs some discussion. The main challenge with our system is that the electronics, the backpack, the entire system is very, very tightly integrated. So it doesn't really lend itself to that module.
Bolt-on module,
But licensing is for sure a possibility. We are still in the early phases of this project. So it's hard to know what the time frame for that is. But absolutely, it's a possibility.
I think one super exciting thing to speak to about just this project in general is that, like you said at the beginning, Andrew, airbags have been around for almost 30 years in Europe in general. And the technology in that 30 years have gotten to a point to where it's really slowed down quite a bit. This is our first year launching this. And we have plans, in the works that, we can't discuss, but it already, with all the different industries working on this type of technology, battery technology, it's getting lighter, by the month. And so just like there's so much money from different industries being thrown at this, rather than from a canister industry, there's really not a lot of people working on it. And then also just physics in general, you can only squeeze air so much. And so it's a really cool place to be in that sense. You're right at the tip of something that is just going to get lighter and faster.
Well, one of the huge benefits of being battery-based is that we have these giant corporations working on battery technology for us. So, I mean,
totally. Elon Musk or Tony Stark.
Just everybody, laptops, pet cordless drills, whatever. And that actually works in our favor as we want to make this thing lighter and better because all that research can be used in this thing.
For sure.
And I guess projects like this, you have to start sort of locking down variables from fairly on in the project. Has there been anything that you kind of locked down and committed to either this fan size or this battery size or something where by this end now at release you're like, oh, bugger, maybe we should have just, got that a bit wrong? Or?
I mean, there's always a list at the end. We've designed a lot of stuff. There's always a list at the end of the project that's the wish we could have done for next time. We have one of those. Probably not going to discuss it.
No, totally.
There's definitely a list of things we can improve.
But that just means the next few years should see a great, continuous update. But the good thing about this stuff, it's potentially life-saving. And so a lot of people should be willing to say, well, am I going to be tight about, this, or am I going to, if I'm halfway down that slide and it's kind of building up on me, am I going to feel really silly for not spending this money? So hopefully there's a good update. But as you guys said, it's very integrated. So at the moment, if someone wants, if they do some overnight touring and some resort side country, that means buying 2 packs at the moment, and there's no real synergy between that.
I think it's highly possible, and we kind of experienced this with the bags for POC and Peeps. Like this is not really a licensing thing because they're part of Black Diamond. But we were able to, in the middle of the process, make these packs for them. That kind of got to capacity that they wanted. And looked the way that they wanted. And so without changing the bag too much, it was super easy. And I think in further generations of this thing, we're going to try to make sure to keep in mind modularity and licensing and stuff.
And I think we had consciously took that off the table pretty early because we wanted to make really good ski packs. And we had enough on our plate getting the system working that we didn't feel like we could make it super modular and also the best ski pack we'd ever had at the same time. So we definitely went the route of making a better pack.
I think that's excellent. It makes great sense. Oh, that's so interesting. So in terms of carry comfort, that sort of thing, a day of skinning up, have you guys found the system's fine? There's no major compromise with it?
I've been
back to the guinea pig.
Blown away how well they carry.
Yeah.
Because you pick up the bag, you can tell there's stuff going on in there for sure from a weight standpoint. But as soon as you throw it on, it's like you kind of forget about it after a little while. Going uphill carries really, really nicely, especially in the bigger packs.
Yeah.
You've got the whole swing arm technology where the harness system moves with you as you're moving. And that's really helpful. Like we said earlier, the core of the weight is lower.
And in close,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just building upon what we've been doing the last few years with our ski packs.
Yeah.
Andrew, are you guys familiar with that swing arm technology?
I'd love you to lead through that. I'm sure there's a lot who aren't.
It's a super simple idea.
Yeah.
But it's quite complex in how we made it happen. There's a bike cable and a bike cable housing that runs down here by the mating scene.
Yeah.
And so there's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of swing.
Yeah.
And so skinning, it makes skinning.
Yeah, a radical difference.
Right? And so you have this packed up full, your shoulders are able to rise and lower like what they need to. And so it moves with you.
And it's a system like Arn Designs in New Zealand and a couple others have played with variants on this. Yeah. And for anyone who hasn't actually put one on, it's a radical difference. You don't get that strap rising off your shoulder as you tilt. You get this sort of slight delay of the bag moving that just cushions everything.
I think that's really important for skiing too. Just because you're always squaring your shoulders up to the fall line.
Yeah, you're a mountain goat. Like one leg's meant to be shorter.
You're pretty much spending your whole day twisting one way or another, and that makes a huge difference. Actually skiing.
Yeah, it's so good. And then, I mean, like water resistance, performance, things like that. How do you decide what to bother doing there?
Yeah, I mean, we actually talk about the pack for a minute. The electronics are a whole different side of things, but
just the water resistance in general.
Well,
so I mean, we've made sure like this material here is silicone coated as well, and so and it's super light. It's a ripstop, so it has a pretty good high abrasion resistance, and so it could really move out of the way quickly when the airbag pops out.
Yeah.
And then.
Especially when the snow's good, any given day, there's somebody in the office getting out.
What is it, the 5 a.m. run where everyone skins up in torches?
In the parking lot, usually, depending on where we're going, 5 a.m., 5:15.
Yeah.
And it takes about 25 minutes to get to the trailhead, and then you can easily get a lap or two in.
Yeah.
It's awesome Utah snow.
Yeah.
Get it to work by about 9 o'clock. And did that jet force work this morning?
Yeah, wild. Oh, it's good, guys. It's an incredible project. For me anyway, it feels like it really is the future of airbag backpacks, at least for the next 5 years. A massive project, but well done. It's just a huge achievement, I think. Really excited to start seeing them out there.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple already. I was skinning out the other day and saw one, and we were like, oh. So I wonder if his staff or if he's got one of the first ones off the floor. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah, there was a second there where they're available online for a little bit.
Yeah, we sold out pretty quick. Yeah, we sold out online in about 24 hours.
We keep pumping more into the system.
Yeah.
I think buddies texting me like, hey, I'm trying
Hey,
to
come on.
What retailer has them? When are you going to put them back on the website?
But intentionally limiting production for the first year to something manageable. You guys make sure it's all going killer.
We'll be ramping up production for F15 for next season. And we'll continue to do so to try to provide what the quantities that people are looking for. But that is the challenge. But we've brought it to market at this point, and so it's just a matter of sort of optimizing the supply chain and getting things down.
And then expecting Peeps and POC versions next season, or
no, they're already out.
They're out, right?
This season was a mix of Black Diamond, Peeps, and POC products.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do any of you guys have a favourite amongst all that stable?
I like the Halo 28. This is kind of your everyday great ski pack.
Yeah.
And it says BDU.
A bit of pride. Oh, it's so good. Well, thanks, Heath.